All right, you guys, we are doing a live podcast and we're going to get started now. Here we go. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Minding My Business, a platform to help you elevate your business, your mindset, and your life. And if you are, this is a show dedicated to celebrate women who have created a lane for themselves and are doing extraordinary things in the world. And today I have our house guest, a special guest. I have Curran, and she is on her way here today. So I will add her up right now. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Christine, I'm going to invite you. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Also, you guys, this podcast is now live on Apple, Spotify. So we're going to be uploading a whole bunch of episodes. And then on Friday, I'm going to be doing Quick Fix Fridays, 15-minute episodes. So make sure you subscribe. You give it a 5-star review. It is www.tinycoliver.com, mindingmybusiness.live. And I see Christine is on right now. I'm going to add you up. Let's invite you. Here we go. I think I added you. Let's see. We'll do it again. Here we go. We're just going to keep trying until we get you on. It says you are unable to join. Maybe ask to be on here. And then if you request to join. Let's see. Let's see if it works. I invited you again. Maybe there's a setting on your phone. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Got Christine on today. I'll do a quick little intro. She's a serial entrepreneur, founder of Dining Empire, TV host, and so much more. Christine, try to add. Here we go. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, no boom. Here we go. Let's do this. Let's see. It says is unable to join. It's got to be your settings. So let's try that again. Fingers crossed, you guys. It's going to happen at some point in time. The time is now. Hello.
I was trying to do it.
Uh-oh.
So how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for being on Minding My Business, and we get to celebrate you today. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here.
I said I love what you're doing.
Oh, well, me too. We get to celebrate powerhouse women that have created a life for themselves or doing extraordinary things in the world, just got there by minding their own business, staying focused, pave the lane, and inspiring others to do the same. So each guest is definitely handpicked, and just really admired a lot of our conversation and the things that you've created. And I just want others to get to know how amazing you are, and we get to just celebrate the woman behind all of the tasks, all the roles, all the responsibilities.
Yeah, no, it's so many, right?
Exactly. So what got you into being this serial entrepreneur where you founded this dining empire and then also being a TV host? I mean, you could have chosen any career in the world, and there's many careers, and you chose, or maybe they chose you, these specific careers. So tell us a little bit of like why these avenues.
Sure. Well, I guess the short version of it is I had my daughter at 17, right before I turned 18. So I was, in college, and I'm like, what do I want to do with my my life. I'm going to be a mom for like the rest of my life. So do I want to go be a banker or go like work in a corporate office, or do I want to do something really fun with my life? And that way I can also raise my daughter and still be peaceful. And that's really how it got started. I was a model and actress part time when I was in college, and so I was like, I'm just gonna go full force into this, and I started making a full time living doing it. And then I started my own company. Fortunately, my first company was for, and I booked other women, other single moms, other college girls, and I booked over 800 women. And so that was my first claim to fame. I did very, very, very well in my 20s, and me and my daughter lived a very good life. And then, I've done the rebuild, and now we're really taking off with my second company after 5 years in COVID, which hurt. I really went into TV production. I was loving that side of the industry. I've done everything in entertainment possible. Model, actress, TV host, interviewed hundreds of celebrities, booking talent, throwing big, large celebrity events, you name it, I've done it. But I really like the TV production, and I wanted to be more creative in that space. And so that's kind of how Dining Divas was born, and it's evolved to Dining Empire.
Wow, that's amazing. I always love hearing like the backstory, because everybody just sees like what you've built right now, but they don't understand like the why, or why that avenue, and all the different things that you've done in your lifeline. And you're like still super young, and it's like you're just getting started, as you just said. So that's really cool. Well, now we're going to talk about you, the woman behind all this stuff. And I feel like more women need to understand that there are certain things and staples that get powerhouse women like yourself to operate at peak states, no matter what. And you said you're a single mom, right? You have a son or daughter?
A daughter. Oh, she's 19 now, which is fun. I love this age.
So you're a mom, and then you're an entrepreneur, and you have all these different roles. You're a friend, whatever you decide to be. What are some of like your daily, like in this season of your life right now, some of your daily like non-negotiables, your staples that if you don't show up for them, it impacts you in a negative way?
Oh, yeah. My fruit smoothie is one of them. Seriously, I have to have a smoothie every day. I like to do all kinds of fun things. I feel like we're lacking so much nutritionally, and I obviously eat for a living, and I eat a lot of fatty and yummy and fun foods, but I'm really big about my sea moss and my bee pollens and my flax seeds and my chia seeds and my raw honey and all the things I put in that smoothie so I get my minerals that I need, and I enjoy it. And then my other non-negotiable is definitely working out, and I have to stay fit. It's good for my mind, body, and soul, and I love to run on the beach. That is my go-to, but the gym a lot. So those are definitely just for myself, for my person that I have to do.
Do you have like a separate routine when you travel, or is it pretty consistent no matter where, they say like everywhere you go, there you are?
No, I've never been a routine type of person. I am a very like fly by the seat of my pants type of chick. Like my business is very wild and it's very sporadic, and somebody calls me and says, actually, crazy story, if you want me to tell it real quick. I'll tell the story.
These are live for a reason. We want like real, raw, unedited.
So, talk about fly by the seat of your pants. I just moved back to Fort Lauderdale, and when I first moved here a few weeks ago, about 6 weeks ago or something now, my car battery wouldn't start. I'm like, oh my goodness, so I run to AutoZone in my pajamas, hair a hot mess, like 8 o'clock in the morning, and my friend's up there with like a hot mess, his hair all over the place, his pajamas, having the same problem, and I haven't seen him in like forever. We know each other for like 10 years, and he's like, what are you doing today anyway? I'm like, oh, just working, I gotta catch up on stuff, whatever. He's like, you want to go on a private jet? I'm like, yeah. So I run home, get ready, put my hair in a bun, get all dressed up, makeup on, drive away to Palm Beach, get on this private jet. It's like the newest technology in aviation. I'm so infatuated by it. I find out they're raising money. I get on the phone, start calling all my investors, calling people in New York. Next thing you know, now I have officially closed a very, very, very large investment deal for them. So I've always been the kind of person wherever the energy is like flowing, I go the path of least resistance, because you never know what doors are going to open, how things are going to evolve. So routine is not my thing, but I'm very structured and I call myself organized chaos because I get it all done. It doesn't make sense to anybody else but me.
Well, a lot of entrepreneurs, because you can't be, I call it freedom within structure. Like, because I'm like, if we're very big on like, I feel like our words are boomerangs, and you said something too, so I know you're on the same frequency of it. So it's like, now I changed the chaos word to freedom. So freedom within structure. So I was like, what would you say? Like, do you have a morning or a night routine? You mentioned your smoothie is one of them, but no matter what, like, do you have like any type of anything else besides that? Like, do you journal? Do you, a lot of entrepreneurs talk about the power of journaling, the power of reading, the power of all these other things.
I try to listen to a lot of audibles. When I have time, I definitely do that. Usually when I'm driving to and from meetings, I do meditate. I meditate on the beach a lot of times. So most of the time I do my runs in the afternoons at the sunset. But obviously I have events with what I can do and night things I have to do, so I don't get to do that every day. So I feel like half of my week is like more a morning routine, and then half my week is like a night routine, and like my schedule just changes, periodically. But so if I know it's a morning day and I'm going to be morning heavy, then I do things a certain way. And if I'm night heavy that day, then I do things a little different. So I would say I have routine, two separate ones.
Now you mentioned something. I want to go back a little bit, because I think this is important, and a conversation that isn't had enough is about pivoting. You mentioned you're in a rebuilding phase the last 5 years. We don't know what's going to happen on the outside world. We can try to run and structure things as much as possible, but what happens for the unexpected? How did you know like it was time to pivot? I know you mentioned COVID, but besides that, like, what do you mean exactly by like rebuilding?
Sure. Well, my first business was very successful, and in all honesty, I probably could have continued to go down that path of booking and entertainment and doing events, and where I made all my money in my 20s, $1 million in cash, was doing Jello shot girls, and that was my claim to fame, and everybody in South Florida had seen them or knows of them if they were around from those days.
What did you say? You ran a business on Jello shot girls?
So the Jello shot girls was a service within my Fort Lauderdale entertainment, but that's the one that made me all the money. Like, that's the big. And that's a fun story too. Like that, we were like, everyone was like, "You can't do that," and I hired a lawyer and my area to actually be able to do it. And so I did that for like 10 years out of my 13 years that I had the company. Wow. And so we made crazy money, and so I could have continued down that path, redid that company. I could have went manufactured the shot, which is what I was planning on doing the whole time. And honestly, I think that just my passion was more in the TV production, and it was scary to kind of just let go of what I was so secure. And I mean, not very many people start their first business right out of college and they're successful. And so it was scary to let that go to do something else, but I knew that my passion wasn't there anymore, and I was getting older. I'm like, do I really want to book talent anymore? Or do I want to go and focus on my own craft and my own passions and talent? And so, that pivot was scary, but it was fun. It was exciting, and it was a growth period. I had to go through a lot of trials and tribulations. I've learned a lot of lessons from that time period, more than I ever learned in the 13 years I had that company. I learned more in the time that I had to rebuild and restructure and start over. So it's been great, and now we're booming. We got our first round of funding. We've got more coming, and we're blowing it up now. But COVID was hard. COVID was that right when I was doing well with the second business. It was finally starting to take off. COVID just cut me off at the knees. So that was interesting. But the pivot there was that I had to learn. I jumped into PPE and crypto, because those are the two things that everybody in entertainment did. I started another business out of crypto during COVID that's doing some big things right now. And now I learned PPE, where I met some of the investors I'm working with right now. So things came out of it. It might have seemed like it was bad, but two different channels came out of it that I'm still actively working with and creating revenues and opportunities with.
Wow, that's amazing. And I love how you mentioned something. So if you guys didn't catch this, you talked about a few really critical things, like knowing when it's time to pivot, because a lot of people don't know. Maybe they're not so connected to like their intuition or the business savvy yet. But you mentioned like passion and purpose are like two really things where eventually, and then also growth. You mentioned that you weren't really like growing anymore in that first business, and so it just became kind of like, do you feel just like you weren't growing anymore? Is that where you're like, I need something else, or my heart's just not in it?
Yeah, like I just didn't feel like I was really fulfilled, and I also felt like I outgrew that. Like that was fun and it was cool, and what a great life I lived in my 20s. And now, like, what am I going to do forever? Like, how do I build $1 billion brand? Like, how do I get to the next level in my life? Because I wasn't meant to just, do small things. I know that, and I feel that in my heart. So when you feel that, you're not on that path, you have to jump off that train and wait at the bus stop or at the train station and get to the next one. So
that's amazing. Now, you also mentioned the business started doing really well at one point, then COVID hit, and the whole world got shut down. But and you got into crypto, and you said PPE or P.
The masks, like people are selling the masks, the gloves everywhere.
Yes,
I was doing that.
Hey, you got on it. There's some people were the standby. I didn't, so you got on it. How do you keep focused when the fear, you mentioned fear, like even though you were afraid, you still plowed forward. And I've noticed like a lot of times people can get like that mental paralysis by fear. But how do you keep focused when things get chaotic and when you feel like all odds are against you? And it can even life stuff, like maybe, anything in life besides like COVID. I mean, everybody knows COVID because that happened pretty recently, but other chaotic things in life, like how do you stay focused, and then how do you also just truck along?
It really comes down to the people you're around. The 5 people you hang out the most is who you become, and it's so true. Like not only that you become them, but like how are you growing within that circle? Like if you have 5 of yourselves, you're not going to grow because they all know the same thing. I have such a diverse team of people and all different age ranges and all different backgrounds, and they're not even in the same area all over the United States that I work with. I'm always learning from them, and new opportunities are evolving from my circle of people. So if I am a little stale or slow in one area, something always comes up for me, somewhere else in my circle. So really finding your tribe. Humans were not meant to be alone. Like I know we're really big on this, Miss Independent, blah, blah, blah. And I am very independent to an extent, but we are meant to be in tribes. We're meant to work together. We are meant to have strengths and weaknesses that we pick up each other on. And so I think that's really the most important thing in the world. Like if you have the right people around you, you can always be okay.
Speaking of tribes, it sounds like you've grown a lot. I mean, you and I just met, so I'm just still getting to know you. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. But speaking of tribes, during your growth phases and transitioning out of different industries and now stepping into new ones the last several years, I'm sure your inner circle has shifted. When did you know that it was time to move out of one tribe and step into another? And do you have like a process of you do it where it's not so harsh, like cold turkey?
That's a good question. It's not that I stepped out of one tribe into another. It's not like I was like, hey, bye everybody, never talking to you again. It's more like as you're going into certain phases of life, and those people are going into certain phases of life, you just naturally start to separate a little bit. I have long time friends and business partners that are never going to go anywhere. They're always part of my tribe, but I'm always bringing in people that are serving, the community that I'm serving at that time. Sometimes it's for a time, place, reason, and a season. That doesn't mean they have to be there forever. It doesn't always have to be a bad breakup or a nasty shift. It comes naturally. Like if you just allow it to flow the way it's supposed to, you don't have to actually be like, hey, you're not out in my circle anymore. You can just start to move the other direction. and naturally they're just not contacting them as much as you're busy over here doing other things. And that's okay. You know? And sometimes they come back around again in a couple of years and you guys work together again. So it's just a matter of like you're kind of moving, and sometimes people are like, hey, I'll see you later, bye. And they run this way, and someone else like, hey, I'm gonna join, and you just keep moving, you know?
Yeah.
Down the whatever path that is for you. So.
Would you say, like, when it comes to also your inner circle in this season of your life, what are some of like the core values that you look for when you bring people like the closest into your heart? Because I mean, entrepreneur space, everything's in layers and levels, but people that really like went over your heart, what are those core values of people that you look for?
That's a great question. And the older I'm getting, the protective I'm getting of who I allow into a certain level, because man, you'll see even the people that you looked up to that you're like, man, I want to work with them. And then you start working with them, and then you come to find out that, man, I'm actually more mature than that person, and I'm a little more self-developed than that person. And it kind of hurts because you think that you're about to like gain so much from somebody, and you're like, maybe I just need to stop putting so many people on such a pedestal above yourself. You know, like sometimes we do that, right? We're guilty of just thinking that we're not there, and we were actually way more there than we realized until we get there, and then we're like, wait a minute. I was already here. I just didn't realize it. So I'm really picky about people who, number one, don't gossip. I do not like gossip. I don't have time for gossip. If there's a problem, the way that you attack the problem, listen, this is a situation I'm having with this person. I don't know how to handle it. Can you give me, or this is, you know, like before you go and do something that could ruin a relationship, ruin a channel of income or a stream of income for you. Like a lot of people move too quick and they don't think and they don't process. And a lot of times now what I've been doing is really processing on the way people are moving and watching them really closely, so I know that I can let them in close. Because sometimes people do something to somebody else and I'm, whoa, that was a weird move. I didn't like that. That doesn't make me comfortable, and I block them. You know, I'm like, I'll keep you right over here. So I'm I really pay attention to people. I'm really watching people like a hawk, just seeing how things are going, what other people are saying about them. And I understand. Listen, I got people that don't like me. There's gonna be people that don't like you. It's just that's just normal. And a lot of that sometimes is self-reflection of themselves, how they feel about themselves, or how they do, or all the different factors, right? And
I don't know why you're breaking up.
You know,
just to pause real fast, you're kind of going in and out just a little bit. How's your internet? And now you're frozen.
Okay, maybe I need to move.
Well, now it's perfect. So now you're perfect. That works. But you were fine up until a certain point. So now you're good.
I don't know where I lost you at, but yeah, just being mindful of people and how they're treating other people, I think would be number one. I like to see how people treat others, whether they can give them something or not. You know, that's really important to me. I don't like to be part of a mean girls club. Like, that's just not it's never been my style. I was never that girl in high school. Don't want to be that girl now. And so, you know, just trying to be really sure people are like really good at the core is really the people that I allow in close to me. And the other people, I was stuck with them. I just know where they belong on my chessboard, you know? Keep them there.
I like
favorite line.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that was a good one. You had me do like one of these, like a wave. I'm like, whoa. Would you say, so you've been in different seasons, you built your empire like pretty earlier on with heightened levels of success. You mentioned like in your 20s, right out of school, going through the different phases of business and then pivoting in different businesses for growth and passion, and then also opportunity. Would you notice that, or what would you say, this is like, I call it like the riddle question. Would you say that your self-worth impacts your net worth, or that your net worth impacts your self-worth?
Oh, definitely your self-worth impacts your worth, because even if you made a lot of money, you'll lose it if you don't understand you are at the core and are true to yourself and honor yourself and, you know, in integrity. I've seen it happen a gazillion times. Like, it's so funny, you know, you hear that 6 degrees of separation. I tell people, listen, I'm at 2 degrees of separation at this point in my life. I would going to be worth what your self-worth is 110%. Because the minute you lose it, it's going to be a lot harder to get it back if you were not walking in honoring yourself, loving and supporting others the right way. All of those things really go into the longevity plan business and where you're going to go, excel to.
I like that you said like the long game, focusing on the long game. Do you have like any stories or any instances? I mean, of course you could just say pass. I'm going to like give you guys like code words. You could say pass if you're like, nah, I want to talk about that. But I'm like, be like pass. But do you have any like stories of maybe a moment where you did get caught up in ego and money was pouring in and you forgot really who you were? You stepped out of your integrity, and then like there was a story of a moment where forced you to step back into it. Do you have any of those stories of like personal experience?
Exactly. Now, but I can tell you that a lot of times, what we were talking about earlier is that when I was younger and not having really anyone to lead me and just pioneering a lot of things, I got walked all over or through all those things happen to me, right? So I react differently than how I react now because I would get so upset, so offended, and so confused. I just didn't understand why people behave this way. So I would act out of emotion and not being able to resolve it because I didn't have any guidance on how to resolve it, right? And so now, 7 years later, 18 years into business, I'm able to handle things a little bit differently and also have mentors now, which I didn't have mentors for business. So big difference when you're watching how other people behave, other people interact, and then ask for advice. I screamed at people, cursed at people, I did all the things, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe we're doing this. But not that I personally did anything out of integrity. I think that's one thing I can honor myself on is that I'm very honest and very loyal to a fault sometimes. But I think it all circles back to that long game, and I think that when you're doing everything right, you're going to win longevity. Because even if I've even cursed out somebody and we've made up later. Like, hey, you know what? This person kind of took us both down the wrong path, and we've been able to make up and be friends again because we both know we are walking in integrity and we understand each of us are, and like we feel strongly that neither one of us is trying to go well intentionally, and that's very important in life. Very important.
Amen. Amen. I've been in many seasons. I'm like, yep, I forgive that version of myself. Speaking of different versions of self, like we're all learning this life thing together, hopefully. So who did you have to become, and what did you have to overcome in order to step into this strong, powerful woman that you are today?
Girl, I had to go through some things. I had to lose everything to gain everything. I was literally homeless last year.
Really?
So actually, I was homeless for 6 months because it was so crazy. It's the first time I was talking about it. I was going to talk about it on Saturday at my Women Empowerment event. But I had to really go stay with friends and family for 6 months, sell everything because COVID obviously down here in South Florida, COVID put everything up like 52% on. So my landlord couldn't wait to get me out so they could get a new lease in. And so I had to sell everything, and there was nowhere to move. The landlords were doing crazy things down here in South Florida. I don't know if you heard all the lawsuits, and it was crazy. So if you owned a property, you were in a really good position during COVID because everybody else got just stomped on. So I had to just restructure, regather my thoughts, sell all my stuff, and just work really hard, and then gather myself back together. Now I'm living in a beautiful place in Los Angeles, over the beach where I have to be, and it was a scary moment for me. It was really scary moment for me. But I had obligations. I had to finish my productions. I have now shows. It's not about me. It's about my whole company and all my team members and all the people that have invested in me. It doesn't matter. Like I have to honor all those obligations first, not myself and not my home at that time. So I just took it. I took it well, and I lived in a suitcase. I was traveling a lot anyway for work, so a great experience, honestly. Like, I feel like I really got back in touch with myself. My daughter, we shared a room. It was like, she's so sweet. She never gives me a hard time, but she thought we can just live together. And I'm so sweet. And it was just a really good experience to, I got close with certain friends that were letting me stay with them, and my family was staying with them, so it was a good time. I was experiencing moments with people, heartfelt moments.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the point of like even like creating this time to share and to get to know somebody, it's like at the end of the day, we're all human beings before we're roles or any of this stuff or jobs or careers. Like we're human beings, and that's where we all can connect with. So, thank you for sharing the vulnerability. And I know it's going to give somebody else that's going through hardship right now, like hope and inspiration. And so yeah, thank you for sharing that. Like I said, like you can always just pass, but I like this show to just, this is for other people.
Everything. I have nothing to hide. I'm at the point of my life. I have done everything. I'm in entertainment at this point. People are about the gossip website. You're gonna deal with all kinds. You're gonna deal with it, and it's better just to put it out there yourself. Because if you put it out there yourself, it's like, yeah, I already spoke on it. Okay, it only takes 1 year to change it. Leave my condo in Boca, knowing that I did not know what was going to happen next. I remember I made a reel. You can go back on my page. You'll see the reel that said, "Oh, you think you can change your life in just 1 year?" And I'm like, "You want some popcorn and sit down so you can watch me do it?" It was so funny. But I knew I was and I cried after I made that. It was like so funny and cute. But I'm like, I knew it was about to get real crazy, and I didn't know how this was going to turn out. But in less than a year, actually December. At the end, I moved out January 1st. So at the end of December, I was selling everything, moving everything, and I just closed a $3 million deal this month. Okay, as a consultant, I've got 5 other deals in the pipeline. I didn't even know I was going to go into consulting on investments. I'm like, this is all new. On top of the fact that I have TV shows on Travel Channel, and I just got my first investment this month for the dining empire. I mean, things are going like right now for me. And that was only less than a year ago that I was homeless. Like I literally just sell everything, and it's just crazy. But if you just work hard, be consistent, and just stay focused, you can get it done. And you'll be surprised how just 6 months or a year, everything is okay.
That's amazing. So I have this question to you because maybe sometimes things are removed and we have to move. And I did a live stream on this the other day about like the most dangerous place to be in is a space of good because we're not like moving. We're just kind of like complacent, or like we're not going to move as fast as if something like that happened. As you just described, where you just had to move in that way. But during that whole year of the rebuilding phase, or I like to call it like being the new, right? Because you didn't really rebuild anything. You built a whole new version of yourself. To prevent like burnout or maybe those hardship moments where you're just like, oh my gosh, like, is this going to happen? Because you only know what's on the other side when you're on the other side. But sometimes as you're through that journey, you're like is you feel like it's never ending. You're like, am I ever going to get out of this? Like, is there a light to this tunnel? But like, what did you do in those moments? Like, did you have any tools or resources where helped you just operate a lot better to keep pushing through? Because you could have quit.
Oh yeah, I know. And I had people like me like, oh, you should just get a normal job. Like, do I look like I get normal jobs? Have I ever had a job? Like, how are you gonna ask? I'm gonna ask like, what's his name? Invented Apple, Steve Jobs. You're gonna tell Steve Jobs while he's sitting in his garage making the first Apple to go get a normal job? Like, that is crazy painful to even expect that of me. I've employed over 800 people. Like, how can you say that? Like, I was so offended, right?
How dare you?
Down. The last thing I need is anyone like just go get through this time. I'm gonna deal with it, and it's just gonna be another chapter in my story that I get to go inspire other people and tell them. Because tell me one millionaire, billionaire you haven't heard slept in my car. I had to sleep on someone's couch. I lost everything. My wife left me. My dog got sick and died. All the things, right? And so it's just, if I just had this perfect life that I never had any hardships, so what would my story be to anybody? And how point that I needed to experience to even appreciate what I have even more, to even help other people more, to even get into, now helping other people raising money, because I know how hard it is, so I had to go through this. I'm glad I did. I don't regret any of it, but just those moments when I thought, oh my God, when does this end? A lot of praying, a lot of manifestation. I honestly, one of my other things, you did ask me earlier about my routine. I do something that I forgot.
See, I knew it. That's why I double ask questions. I do it on purpose because I always know mid to the end of the interview you remember. So I'm like, yes, it's going to come out. There's got to be something else.
Yeah, I listen to manifestation music when I sleep at night.
What is there a specific station?
YouTube. I like to try different ones, but I always fall asleep with them on, and I wake up feeling very refreshed, and whatever it is that I like. If I'm really looking for help with my business, I put on more of abundance manifestation music. If I feel like I haven't been under the weather and I need more of like internal my health, I put on health manifestation music. So it's just something something I've been doing. I like it. I feel like it works for me. I obviously music and sound are healing. They have frequencies of their own, and I was a band captain in high school. And I know how impactful music can be to your life. So
yeah,
it's important. So I love that. I love doing that. And that's something I started when I was really down. When I was really down and out, I started that, and I kept that habit going into my new phase now. So
yeah. What are your thoughts on like vision boards, or they call them focus wheels, or they call them I call it like a life wheel, but they like for life wheel, vision boards, focus wheels. They even do them on I've got friends that do like flip cards. So what are your, because you've clearly built a lot in a short period of time, and so you're successful in that area.
I'm big on writing things down. I write them all over the place. I have like whiteboards in my office, and I brought you down to the library today because the internet wasn't working really well up there. But my office, I have like whiteboard everywhere. So a lot of stuff is like written on the whiteboards, like where I'm going, what I'm doing next, and and I've written down stuff like I'm gonna have an X amount in my account by this date, and I have like a little shopper. Fun thing, just for, I think it's for your own internal self, just to, like kind of put a lock in your memory, because when you write something down, you remember it 80% better than if you just say it. So I put stuff in my notes in my phone, and I always go back over them and check them and see where I'm at, erase the things I did and keep the ones I haven't, and add more to it. I think it's very important to like have some type of, I'm not as organized. I don't make the ones with the magazine cutouts and everything. But
I don't either. My brain, I just accept my brain. Brain is like this tree, like just how it's like. What did we call it? I even forgot what I just called it. Freedom within structure. So there's structure, but it's free.
Free to go wherever it goes.
Yeah, to a certain degree. No, we keep it rooted though. We keep it anchored. I love that. And I think I've realized over time, because I had to heal my relationship with vision boards. They made me really mad at one point, but I realized like they are an anchor. They keep you focused when your mind wants to start something else, or when you question the path that you're on. I just feel like it keeps you like focused.
But I will say that you should always, like, it's okay to change vision board. It's okay to change your path. I see life as like a lot of paths, and whichever one lights up is the one that I start taking. Like whatever the path or the steps is, I try to take. Although I will fight certain things if I'm like really adamant about it. But sometimes you'll have two options, and it's like which one is the better one, for you. So it's good to go off the path a little bit.
Yeah, some Abraham Hicks right there. The path of least resistance. Did you hear the switch? It's called the Swiss cheese. I just listened to it. I listen to them every morning. The 15-minute series in the morning to get my brain get in my head. And she's talking about this Swiss cheese one where you just like dot on paper and then you write all the things down that you want to do. And she's like, choose the most fun one.
Oh no, I haven't. I'll have to go find
Yeah, I'll send it to you later. That's amazing. Yeah, thank you for that. Sometimes too, I get people ask me about like, well, what is that specific exercise that person used? So like when you guys when I have my guests share specific examples for our viewers, what would you say as far as passion projects that you are specifically maybe that have nothing to do with business, but more just for yourself? Or is there something that is like this burning desire in your heart that you haven't maybe yet made time to start with, but it's like brings you to life? You mentioned music.
I'm really big the homeless. I love doing that. So I'm actually, for me, my time is, so wrapped up right now with trying to, get all my corporate infrastructure in place and all the people on board properly. So for me, it's like, how do I bring in what I'm passionate about? So obviously, women empowerment is passionate for me, and I've got an influential model awards that I'm working on, which has been something that's been in the works for a few years. But COVID stopped that project too, so we're rebuilding that. And that's about honoring women. Then I've got the WIM token, which is a cryptocurrency, which is for women empowerment and helping women learn financial independence. And then I've got the Dying Divas, which is about women, being able to speak their mind and speak their voice and be authentic to themselves on national TV over food and people. So I brought that passion of women empowerment into my life, into my ecosystem. But feeding the homeless also one. And I did partner with Action Against Hunger to help bring more awareness to them. I run commercials for them and raise money for them. So that's another passion project. But I really would like to my network. That's something I've had an idea for years about doing, just to bring more awareness and more resources and help to them. Being homeless is a really sad thing, and this is before I was homeless for 6 months. That I always would go out and meet them with my daughter or my mom, and people who don't have family or friends, maybe they come from a really different type of lifestyle that they don't have anybody, or they're mentally disabled. A lot of them are before they come. Or their character dies on them. A lot of times that happens, and they're just left. They don't know what to do, and they're just left out. I talk to them all the time. One thing that really bugs me is like how one guy was very educated. I'm like, well, why are you homeless? Like, what's the problem? He's well spoken. Right? He's like, do you know how the system works? You can't get an ID without an address, but you can't get a job without an ID. So it's like it's a catch-22 that once you get out, once you're in that system of the homeless, it's almost impossible to get out of. And so I'm like, yeah, that's really crappy. When you think about it, you're like, people are literally stuck. And so that's a big passion project. So I definitely want to put more energy and time into that in the near future again. So.
That's amazing, and you hear these type of stories too, and you hear people's stories of like how they everybody has a story. And I think it just comes back to the same thing, like being a human being and having compassion and grace. And there's always going to be a moment in our life where we're going to need help, support, and we're going to need each other. And it's like, and I think this also comes back to what you're talking about with integrity. And as you're climbing the ladder, to remember that we're all human, and we're going to have highs and we're going to have lows.
You know what else it circles back to? That we try, because humans weren't here to be independent the way that we have been preaching so much. So we're here because we're supposed to be working together, and we're supposed to be part of an ecosystem of people. And when you understand that, it helps, kind of paint that picture a little bit more. Why you should be so passionate, so helpful, and so understanding.
Yes, that is amazing. What would you say? So, man, I can't believe I'm like, oh, so many questions. But okay, we're gonna respect your time in the audiences. I always like to say, what is if you can leave the audience with one thing that's going to make a impression on their life if they integrate it on a day-by-day basis. Like if you were to even that moment where you went back through your process of being homeless and completely having to build the new for yourself, what's that one piece of advice where it would just change somebody's life?
Just believe in yourself that it's gonna be okay. It's just a moment. It's just a moment in time. It's not forever, And if when you're at your worst, you have to really buckle down even more and really stay focused. And if you do that, I promise you it'll change. You can change your whole life in 6 months. I have no doubt about it. I did it. I've seen other people do it. You really have to stay focused and stay grounded. And I think that's when you're doing that whole routine really needed at that time. Is really because it's good for your mental health during that time. Whatever your hardship is, you're going to really buckle down, stay focused, and get through it, and you will. You'll weather the storm.
Beautiful. And is there like a tangible that they integrate on a day-by-day basis? Because I personally feel like this is me from my experience. And I have this in me, and I'm a big fan of like believe in yourself and do it. But some moments where you're like, how do you believe in yourself when you don't believe in yourself? Like, how would you start?
I would definitely go back to. Can you see me?
Yeah.
I would definitely go. Can you see me?
Yeah, it's a little blurry, but we can see you. Can you guys see her?
I can move it around. Can you see me?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it goes back again to the people you are surrounded by. You need people who believe in you, encourage you, talk you up when you're down. My team, no matter what I was going through, and I have a lot of people who are very successful. My closest people knew what I was going through. They were even helping me out here and there when they could. And they were all telling me, I believe in you, you're going to kill it. This is just, and you got to have people who are cheering you on, cheering you on at all times in your life. If you don't, you need to find new people. You need to get rid of all that energy. And I have to cut people off on a regular. I've got my team that's been around for 15 years, 10 years, like long time. Then I have my newer team that I trust and believe in for maybe 3 to 5 years. And then I've got even newer people, right? But then sometimes one of them starts getting a little crazy and you have to cut them off because energy comes into your team, into your circle, into your environment. So it's really important that during that time, if you're going through hardship, that you're only surrounded by people who are uplifting 24/7. And you're not complaining and not woe is me and not playing victim, but just looking at what is the solution to the problem and how.
Oh, you broke up.
That with your team. Oh, okay. Can you see me now?
Mm-hmm.
The solution to the problem with your team, so that way they can pick you up and help you solve it. Because you need to solve the problem, not just dwell on the problem.
Yeah, I'm like, the internet. I need to remind everybody, like, internet. You know, you definitely have fans in here. We appreciate you, Wealthy Vibe, Steve.
Hi, Wealthy Vibe over there. How you doing?
Man, you are getting love.
Can you see me now?
So much better. Yeah, and hear you.
Awesome.
Okay, what were you saying though real fast? You were saying, oh yeah, about that's the thing too. It's like, I know personally being through different seasons where I had no one. I had to do it for my own mental, emotional health, and physical health. I had to, I call it like the ostrich phase, where sometimes you're going to go in seasons where you have to be in the ostrich phase and completely build yourself up, but I do agree, like, there are times where you mentioned music and audiobooks, and like that counts too. I mean, that was a big part of building myself up with audiobooks and mentors from books and audibles and stuff like that before I started building up my self-worth and my value, where I started attracting other people that were in the same like frequency.
I think going to a lot of events is really healthy. I've noticed, like, when you go to a lot of stuff, the energy is infectious, and so maybe you're not quite there on the frequency to work with certain people, but you need to be around that enough so you can start absorbing that good energy and starting to see how, oh, I can do this too, which enough of that type of environment will help you elevate and help you get to the next level so you can start attracting the right people to be in your tribe and to work with you. You know, and I think that's a big thing too. If you're feeling stuck or in a rut, asking people if you can be their mentee. Hey, I want to be your mentee. I want to learn from you. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to bring value. Like, however, what do you need me to do for you so I can be more involved in this and learn and grow? You know?
Yeah. No, I agree with that 100%. Because I always say, like, I mean, you hear concepts of like belief and faith, but last year I went through a season where I was like, I want unwavering faith. I don't want wavering faith. I want unwavering faith. And God put me through a whole season of like being tested to have that unwavering faith. So, sometimes there are tools and strategies behind it where, because it sounds great, but like what are like the tangible tools that, have helped you in moments where maybe you question your belief, you question your path, you you got bigger goals, bigger obstacles to sometimes overcome. With that requires a lot of faith and courage and perseverance and endurance and all that other stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. I would definitely suggest keeping your thoughts super clean at the time. Like, I don't watch garbage TV. I don't interact with like stupid celebrity stuff. Like, I am just, when I'm focused on something, I focus on that. I only look and participate in things that are going to help that project or that focus grow. And especially when you're going through a hard time, it's even more important that you are so on, laser focus and really like channeling in on what is going to help you get to the next steps. That uncomfortableness or that uncomfortable period of your life,
Well, you're amazing, and I'm so grateful that you were able to make time to come on the show. I feel like that's a little journey in life. I'm like, where is she now? Here she's always on the go, literally, like even in the But thank you. Yeah, well, thank you so much for your time and your energy and your rawness and your realness. I'm sure this information is going to serve whoever's watching now, watching the replay. And thank you guys for your time and energy for watching. And if you love this episode, make sure you go over and follow Christine, give her some love, let her know how much value she added today. And we are live on Apple and iTunes and all this stuff. So make sure you go and follow over there and screenshot this, post it on your social so other people can see it, or share it and tag myself and tag Christine so that we can also acknowledge and recognize you and give you a big thank you. So thank you, everybody. Thank Christine for being on.
This was a beautiful experience. I really had a great time chatting with you, and you're a wonderful, wonderful soul. So
thank you, and likewise. So, all right, bye everybody. Hope you have a blessed up day, and we'll see you later. Bye. Bye.